Talk. I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace, and welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. This is the Coffee Talk Podcast Cultural Variety Podcast Show, and I am your host, MISHUMA SABA, M.SABA, and this is the podcast. How y'all doing today? Good. It's good to be back. It's Monday, April 4th. This is our cultural studies night, if you're new to the show. And it's been a long week, man. I missed y'all. I definitely missed y'all, and I'm happy to be back. As you know, as we do, every Monday is our cultural studies night, so we like to go ahead and just give big props to our people, whether that's lawyers, doctors, scholars, scientists, our ancestors. We definitely like to take time out on Mondays, and we do book readings, poems, poetry, bios, whatnot. So that's what we do on our cultural nights, cultural studies night. On Wednesdays, it's our sports edition, and then as well on the weekends, it's our grown folks night, which is laughter and humor. But that's just to speed it up a little bit. But listen, tonight we got a good show. We're going to talk about the Duluth lynchings. The Duluth lynchings from the 1920s, man. And it's something that took place in my state here in the Midwest, in a city called Duluth. So we're definitely going to go ahead and talk about that, talk about the ramifications of it. And, how does it make brothers feel? We'd definitely like to hear from you. Go ahead and leave a comment once we get the story started. But again, I just want to say, thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk. So I do appreciate you. All right. So listen, if this is your first time tuning into our show, we never start a show without giving it some flavor. So today's flavor before we begin our show is El Salvador coffee. El Salvador coffee is and has been a big part of the nation's history and culture. Since its introduction in 1779, the cultivation of these beans has been impacted and has impacted the history and economy of that country. El Salvador coffee production is vital to the El Salvadorian economy. It creates jobs and produces export revenue. Traditionally, a large percentage of the Salvadorian coffee is exported. Since 2009, over 80% of the coffee grown in El Salvador has been exported, mainly to the United States, Germany, Japan, Italy, and Singapore. So today, that's our flavor. Today is El Salvador coffee. So that's definitely the flavor here at Coffee Talk Podcast. And also, I like to have a drum roll right there. Today's words of wisdom is this. Today's wise words is this. The thorough you be, the better you be. Never cheat yourself. Never cheat yourself. The thorough you are, the better you're going to have to be. Never cheat yourself. So those are the wise words today here at Coffee Talk Podcast. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into our show. What happened on June 14th, 1920 in the city of Duluth? It was on June 14th, 1920 when police arrested several young black men accused of raping a white woman. That evening, 3 of them, Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGee, are taken from a jail by a mob and lynched. General view of a circus. It was the John Robinson Circus that brought Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGee to Duluth. On that June 14th, 1920, 2 white teenagers, James Sullivan and Irene Tuscan attended the John Robinson Circus in Duluth. The next morning, they claimed Mr. Sullivan had been held at gunpoint while 6 black circus workers raped Ms. Tuscan. Though a doctor examining Ms. Tuscan found no evidence of assault, 6 young black men were arrested and jailed. Newspapers reported the alleged assault, and false rumors soon spread that Ms. Tuscan had died from her injuries. This was 1920. The black population of Duluth, Minnesota, numbered 495 out of 98,000 residents. Many had been recruited from the South to work at the United States Steel local plant, while others worked as janitors, servers, porters, and assemblers. Despite their small numbers, black Duluth residents endured significant discrimination. They received lower pay for their labor and was forced to live in a substandard housing and segregated neighborhoods. As in other northern cities during the era of black migration, many white workers in Duluth resented the presence of black workers, and racial tensions was high. In this environment, sensational reports of black men raping a white woman set off a mob mentality among white people in Duluth. On the evening of that June 14th, a mob of 5,000 to 10,000 white people gathered at a jail and seized 3 of the arrested black men, Isaac McGee, Elmer Jackson, and Elias Clayton. The mob beat and lynched them all, hanging the men from a light pole in downtown Duluth. The Minnesota National Guard arrived the next morning to secure Duluth and guard the 3 surviving black prisoners. No one was ever arrested or convicted for the lynchings. What do y'all think about that? Leave a comment. There was lynchings going on all over the country. Every state received them, whether it was north or south. Do you see the picture to the upper right? That was the picture of those brothers, Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGee. In the bottom corner of the picture in the upper right are those 3 gentlemen. The doctor stated that there was nothing to be found on her. Today it would be DNA on Miss Tuscan. There was none of her meat under their fingernails. Because you know that's how they check DNA. They check everything that's under your fingernails. What's your thoughts on that? I tell my friends all the time when they ask me about the state of Minnesota, man, and you know, there's some good things, there's some bad things wherever we lay our heads, because we are good people, you know. And I ain't talking about Minnesota as a whole, but what I'm saying is this, man. When I talk about Minnesota and people ask me, I say, man, this is almost like, to me, in my years on this planet, this always, to me, felt like the Alabama or the Mississippi of the South. That's just my opinion. What's your thoughts on that? Leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe if you're viewing this on YouTube. Tonight on Coffee Talk Podcast, we like to tip our hats and send our roses to the 3 brothers that lost their life back on June 14th. Again, that is Elias Clayton, Elmore Jackson, and Isaac McGee. If you'd like to see more photos, or if you like to know a little bit more about the story of these three gentlemen, I say you can go on Google and just select one of the sites that will go more in depth about this story. Other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for supporting Coffee Talk Podcast. We definitely feel the love, and we so much appreciate it. I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to my partner, Mr. Thomas Brown, who wanted us to talk about this subject tonight on Coffee Talk. So we definitely give a shout out to Thomas Brown, and other than that, man, continue to believe in yourself, continue to love yourself, because when you love yourself, then it'll vibrate to others, you know what I'm saying? But you got to love yourself, and loving yourself does not mean material things. And a material thing should not make you love something, but your love starts within you, and finding yourself is not easy. If you can get with some gentlemen that you can share stories with, you can empower one another, that always helps. A lot of brothers, we walk around and we carry stuff on our shoulders, man. But I'll tell you this, I love you great men, and I love you great women. And we thank you for continuing to tune into our show, Coffee Talk Podcast. So listen, I'm going to hit you with the universal peace sign, man. Y'all be easy. Y'all stay sucker free. We'll see y'all Wednesday for our sports edition. Yeah, we're going to be talking Dawn Staley and South Carolina. The girls just won the Final Four here in my hometown. So definitely tune in Wednesday for a Coffee Talk. Again, we thank you, man, from the bottom of my heart. Continue to support us. Continue to look for the merch. And, come on in. Pour yourself some coffee, some cappuccino, a hot chocolate if it's cold outside, some smoothies, some water, or some wine. But come on in, kick your feet up. This is Coffee Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Peace and love.